In the vast plains of the American Midwest, there lived a man named John Miller. John was a simple farmer with calloused hands and a generous heart. He led a quiet and peaceful life, tending to his small farm where he grew corn and raised a few chickens and cows. His home was modest, built of wood and brick, surrounded by green fields stretching as far as the eye could see. Despite his humble appearance, John owned one of the most luxurious hotel chains in New York City, the Empire Suites. However, no one in the city knew his true identity, as he preferred to remain anonymous. The idea of creating a hotel chain came many years ago when John inherited a small sum from his grandfather. Instead of spending the money frivolously, John decided to invest in his passion for hospitality. He believed everyone deserved a comfortable and welcoming place to stay, regardless of their social status. The success of Empire Suites grew rapidly, quickly becoming synonymous with luxury and sophistication. Yet, John never strayed from his roots. He continued to work on his farm every day, wearing his simple clothes and straw hat, never flaunting his wealth. One day, John decided to make a surprise visit to the flagship hotel of his chain in New York. He was curious to see how his employees treated the guests and wanted to ensure his values of hospitality and respect were being upheld. John donned his usual attire and took a bus to the city, arriving at the luxurious hotel in the middle of the afternoon. As he entered the grand lobby of Empire Suites, he immediately received looks of disdain and contempt. The doorman, a young man with a snobbish appearance, glanced at him up and down before asking in an arrogant tone, "Can I help you, sir?" John smiled and replied, "Yes, I'd like to see a room, please." The doorman huffed and rolled his eyes, clearly underestimating the man before him. He called over one of the receptionists, an elegantly dressed woman who seemed equally bothered by John's presence. "We have rooms available, but they are quite expensive." "Are you sure you can afford one?" she asked sarcastically. John, maintaining his composure, answered, "Yes, I can pay. I'd like to see a room before deciding." The receptionist, skeptical, took a key and gestured for him to follow. She led him to the elevator and took him to one of the upper floors. The room was magnificent, decorated with elegant furniture and offering a stunning view of the city. John looked around, appreciating the luxury and comfort he had envisioned for his guests. He turned to the receptionist and said, "This room is perfect. I'd like to book it for a few nights." Still doubtful, the receptionist replied, "Very well, but we'll need an immediate deposit." John agreed and handed over his credit card. Upon seeing the name on the card, the receptionist gasped and turned pale. She quickly composed herself and stammered, "And Mr. Miller, I didn't know it was you. Please forgive my attitude." John smiled kindly and responded, "No worries. I wanted to see how I'm treated when no one knows who I am." The mortified receptionist apologized again, promising impeccable treatment from that moment on. John nodded and retreated to the room, where he spent the night reflecting on the incident. In the following days, John observed the hotel staff closely. He saw employees who worked hard and with dedication, but he also noticed those who treated guests with disdain and arrogance. He particularly noticed how some of the snobbier employees treated the housekeepers and other cleaning staff. The doorman, named Travis, and the receptionist, named Emily, were among the worst. Travis, in particular, was known for his arrogant attitude and condescending behavior. He frequently made derogatory comments about the housekeepers, mocking their clothes and the work they did. He found it amusing to call them invisible and rarely spoke to them except to give orders. Emily, on the other hand, felt superior and did not hide her disdain. She often humiliated the housekeepers in front of guests, criticizing their work unnecessarily and cruelly. One day, John witnessed an incident where Emily scolded a housekeeper named Maria for not cleaning a small smudge on the elevator mirror. "Can't you do anything right?" Emily said harshly. "If you keep this up, you better look for another job." Maria, with tears in her eyes, lowered her head and apologized, while Emily turned her back and walked away, visibly irritated. John also noticed that the housekeepers were often required to work long hours without proper breaks. They were treated as if they were inferior, and their efforts were never recognized or appreciated. This toxic and oppressive work environment starkly contrasted with the values of respect and dignity John wanted for his hotel chain. At the end of his stay, John decided to gather all the employees in the hotel lobby. "Good morning, everyone. I'm John Miller, the owner of Empire Suites," he began, while everyone looked at him with expressions of surprise and apprehension. "Over the past few days, I've observed how you treat our guests and colleagues. Some of you are exemplary, but others seem to forget that our mission is to provide hospitality and respect to everyone." John paused, looking directly at Travis and Emily, who were visibly uncomfortable. "I want everyone to understand that every guest and every employee is important, no matter their appearance or financial status. This hotel wouldn't succeed without each one of you, but we need to work together to ensure that everyone is treated with dignity." John then paused, looking directly at Travis and Emily again. "Unfortunately, not everyone has demonstrated these values. Those who have treated others with disrespect and disdain, I need to inform you that you are no longer part of the team. We cannot keep people who do not understand the importance of treating all our guests and colleagues with respect." Travis and Emily lowered their heads, ashamed, and left the room. John then continued, "I want everyone to know that respect and kindness are fundamental in our work. Our mission is to provide the best experience for our guests, and that starts with how we treat them from the moment they walk through the door." After the speech, John asked each employee to introduce themselves and share their ideas on how to improve the service. He listened attentively, encouraging an environment of respect and collaboration. By the end of the day, John felt he had planted the seed of positive change. Returning to his farm, John reflected on his experience. He realized that while his life in the countryside was simple, he had the responsibility to ensure that his values of humility and respect were reflected in all aspects of his empire. A few months later, John received a letter from the hotel manager, thanking him for the changes implemented after his visit. The work environment had improved, and guests were more satisfied than ever. John smiled as he read the letter, knowing he had made a difference. Life continued peacefully on the farm, but John never stopped monitoring his hotels to ensure that the values he held dear were upheld. He knew that true wealth was not in luxury or sophistication, but in how we treat one another. And so, he lived his days with the satisfaction of knowing that, even as a simple farmer, he had created a legacy of respect and hospitality that would last forever. John's story teaches us that appearances can be deceiving and that a person's true value is not in their material possessions or outward appearance, but in their actions and how they treat others. Respect and kindness are fundamental, regardless of social status or financial condition. By treating everyone with dignity and compassion, we create a fairer and more humane world where the value of each individual is recognized and appreciated. So, always remember to look beyond appearances and practice kindness in all circumstances, because this is what defines the true greatness of a human being.